Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, both teams aren't that good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't you guys lose to the Ducks or something like that?
The Ducks, you know, Ducks are a hockey team.
I didn't know that.
Good morning, you guys.
Morning.
Good morning.
So, do you guys remember how we learned about translations and reflections last week?
No.
Did I know? No?
I do.
You remember, Michael?
Yes.
What do you remember about translations?
For translations, it's a shift of a point or polygon on the coordinate plane.
Perfect. And then, does anybody remember what a reflection is?
No.
Melissa?
I don't remember. What
You don't remember?
reflection is.
Andrew, do you remember what a reflection is?
I do not know.
You don't remember? Does anybody know? Oh, perfect. Andrew, what's a reflection?
It is a flip of a point or polygon over a line. X-axis, Y-axis, Y equals X.
Perfect. Okay, so here's what we're going to do, you guys. So there's another thing that's actually called a glide reflection. So what a glide reflection is, it's actually a composition of two different reflections. So there's the translation, which is the first part, and then that's just the shift, remember? And then there's also the reflection, which is a flip. It's a flip that's over that x-axis or that y-axis. So that's the main thing that I want you guys to keep in mind whenever we're talking about glide reflections, is that it's two, okay? It's two of those together. But what we're going to do today is we're just going to practice our reflections and our translations, okay? So the first thing that I want you to do, does everybody have their whiteboard?
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. So what I'm going to have you guys do, you guys all have your blank graph, right?
Yep.
So what I'm going to have you guys do, we're going to start off with our point, and it doesn't really have to be like perfectly accurate, so just pick a point on your board, but we're going to do it in quadrant 1 right here, okay?
Okay.
So we'll call that point A. And then, do you remember when we're doing any kinds of translations or reflections, those new points, what are those new points called? Andrew, do you remember what those points are called?
Do not know.
Does anybody remember what those points are called? Andrew?
They're called prime.
They're called prime points. And how do we label those prime points?
By apostrophes.
Yes, we'll label that point as an apostrophe. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do a reflection, but we're going to do that reflection over the x-axis. So, does anybody remember the x-axis? Which way does it run? Horizontal or vertical?
Horizontal.
Horizontal. And the y-axis runs vertical. Cool. So all you have to do is just pick a point. We have our point right here in quadrant 1, and we want to flip that point over our x-axis. So go ahead and do that. Okay, are we ready?
Yeah.
So if you guys can go do me a favor, go ahead and hold up your whiteboard so that I can see. Perfect. Perfect. Melissa, we might need a little bit of work later. And Andrew, we might need a little bit of practice later. So, you can see, this is our original point. We had point A, right? We reflected across the x-axis, which Michael said earlier is the one that runs horizontal. So, when we look at Melissa's point and little Andrew's points, you guys reflected over a different axis. What axis did you guys reflect over? Melissa?
The Y?
The y-axis. So just remember, make sure that we're paying attention to whatever axis we're being asked to flip over, okay? Especially once we start with our glide reflections, that's going to make a big difference in whether we do that correctly or whether we don't do it correctly, okay? So the next thing that I want you guys to do, we're going to pick a point. Oh, you guys can erase your boards. So we're going to pick a point anywhere on the board. It doesn't matter where we put it. And just label that our original point X. Everybody got it? Okay, go ahead and hold up your whiteboards really quick.
I didn't do it.
You didn't do it? You need more time? Okay, go ahead and finish it up.
Now.
Okay. Yes?
I'm not really too sure which one's the y-axis and which one's the x-axis. Can you tell me?
Somebody want to help her out?
If you
So
didn't
on
really-
this line right here, this is the x-axis, and this is the y-axis
Oh.
going vertical.
Thank you.
Cool. And sometimes that helps too before you even start graphing. If you label your axis, that kind of helps you know, because then you know if you're doing a reflection where you're going to flip it over. Okay, so everybody go ahead and hold up your whiteboards. You okay? Okay, perfect. So everybody has a point. So we're gonna do the translation. Remember, the translation is just when we shift. So I want everybody to shift your points 2 units to the right and 1 unit down. And I'll go ahead and do the same on mine, just so we know what it should look like. Okay, we ready? Okay, go ahead and hold up your whiteboards. Perfect. Is that 2? Yeah, perfect. Which one's your original point? I can't tell which one's the original and which one's your... Okay, so how do we label the original point and the prime point? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember.
The apostrophe. So the apostrophe tells us, so you did your translation right, but you have to make sure you put the apostrophe, okay? Okay, you guys, so here's what we're gonna do. Does everybody have their notebooks? Cool. So you guys can see we have problem number 1 is in your guys' workbooks. So if you look at problem number 1, what is that one? Is that one a translation, which is just a shift, or is that one a reflection? What do you guys think? Yes, Michael?
That's a translation.
That's a translation. Cool. So what I'm going to have you guys do is you guys are going to work in partners, and I'm going to have you guys figure out how we do these translations, okay?
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Very good.
What are we
So,
doing?
we're doing translations.
Go negative or
So,
go negative up, go down.
translation? No.
How many do you do?
Michael, let me see.
How are we
Yo,
doing, you guys?
Okay.
I'm a little confused.
You're a little confused? What about you, Andrew?
I'm a little confused too.
You're confused too?
So the
Do you
negative
think you guys
goes
might need a
up
little
5
bit more
and
help
right
with this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So in just a little bit, we'll go ahead and
That's
work
where
on
you-
small group instruction, okay? Sound good?
Okay,
You think that'll help?
Yeah.
Cool.
Hmm.
Okay, guys, how are we doing?
Good?
Good? You guys think you have it?
Hopefully, yeah.
Let's see. So this is your point. You have your prime point. You did up 5, right 5. Perfect. And you guys both have the same answer?
Yep.
Cool. Okay, so that one, what was that one again, you guys? Was that one a reflection or is that one a translation?
That was a,
Wait,
that was a
That
translation.
one was a translation? Cool. Yeah, that one was a translation. So the next one that we're going to try is we're going to try a reflection. If you look at the problem number 2 is already set up for you. We just have to start performing that reflection, okay? You guys can go ahead and work in your groups.
You seem like
That's
more
all
on
exactly what you
reflection.
draw.
So it's just like
A
opposite.
reflection
Okay,
Mirror.
so you're selecting across the y-axis. So there's the A, B, and C, and you reflect off of
Just
Yes.
the dots.
Um,
See what that, but you put the
I don't
A
know
there,
which way
and
to
you
reflect
there.
it. I was looking this way or this way.
So in the question, it says that we're reflecting over the y-axis. Which one's the y-axis?
This one?
Yes, that one's the y-axis. So this is the problem that you guys had so far. Did we reflect across the y or did we reflect across the x?
Across the X.
Good. So again, give it just a couple minutes and we'll go ahead and do some small group instruction on that, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, how are you guys doing?
I think we
Well,
got
I
it,
didn't
yeah.
have to copy
You got it?
for
Cool, cool. You guys even remember to put your prime points on the right spots and you labeled them perfectly? Awesome job. Okay, so Melissa and Andrew, what I'm going to have you guys do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to do some small group instruction, okay?
That's really a weird one.
Okay, you guys can go ahead and have a seat right here. We're going to do our small group instruction. Okay, cool. So, Melissa, can you tell me which part of the first problem was difficult for you?
I'm not sure that I know which one is my x-axis and my y-axis.
Okay, so Remember, you had your whiteboard, and on your whiteboard you had your axes labeled, right?
Mhm.
Perfect. So show me the x-axis.
This one.
Okay. And then can you show me the y-axis?
This one.
Perfect. So when we go back over here and we have our problem, same thing, because this already has our x-axis and our y-axis, right? Awesome. So looking at this first one, is this one just a transformation, or is this one a reflection?
A reflection.
So whenever we have this and it's telling us up or right or left or down, these ones are just our translations, okay?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's why. It's because this one's a translation. Our second one, this one is the one where it says a reflection. Notice how it tells you reflect across the axis?
Yeah.
Yeah, so reflecting is when we're just flipping over that axis. And then remember, this was our x-axis right here.
Mhm.
This was our y-axis right here.
Right.
So what was the problem? Where did we make a mistake here
I flipped it onto my x-axis.
instead of the y-axis?
Yes.
Perfect. So what about you, Andrew?
I did it kind of backwards, like down accident.
That's okay. So looking at this first one, it looks like you did your point shift right, but what looks like happened is instead of moving it the 5 units to the right and the 5 units up, what you did is 5 units down and 5 units to the left. So we just got to make sure whenever do you know your right from your left? Hold up your right hand for me.
Is it this one?
This one is your left hand. This one's your right hand. So that's all that it is. Maybe just sometimes, I know for me, sometimes I get my right hand and my left hand confused. But you know how we say the Pledge of Allegiance every morning? So every morning we put our right hand over our heart, right?
Well, every time I school, it gets me confused and stuff. Like, I get confused a lot of times with math.
Oh, well that makes sense. That's understandable. But for the right and the left, and the other thing that you can do, hold up your hands, make L's. Notice how this one looks like the right L, the correct L, and this one looks kind of backwards. So the L is going to be your left. So this one's always your left, and that one's always your right, okay? Okay, do you guys think that you can practice that now, maybe a little bit better, now that we have a little bit more instruction?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you guys.
You're welcome.